Hey folks, Matt from WireTheImage.com. Hot on the heels of my last video about the tech that's trickling down from the Nikon D500 into the coming D7300. That's what I think we'll call the update to the D7200. That makes for a very interesting camera, but what else popped into my mind was, what is going to happen to my favorite full-frame camera? I guess my favorite full-frame camera for value. And for those of you that watch the channel, you know the 610, the Nikon D610. I have such a soft spot, sweet spot in my heart for that camera. Value-wise, it's impossible to beat. It gives you amazing performance, full-frame goodness for a very good price. But we're getting all this tech coming down from, or not coming down, it will come down, but being announced and being introduced with the Nikon D5 full frame and the Nikon D500 not full frame. That's a DX. A lot of that's going to make its way into a lot of cameras below it. It's going to trickle down, as I mentioned in the video about the 7300. So what do we think we're going to see with the 610's update? I think we're probably, I don't know what they're going to call it, because we already have had a 700 in the past. We have a 750 right now. So I'm thinking Nikon D650. It's about the best I could come up with, and it sounds plausible. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. But back to the Nikon D650. Let's call it that for simplicity's sake. What can we expect to get? What kind of goodies and tech can we expect to trickle down from this new technology into it? Well, as I mentioned about the D7300, I think the D650 will get 4K video. I think it's the way of the future. I think all cameras, I mean, if Nikon's smart, all of their DSLRs going forward, 4K is going to be the minimum high setting. So I guess that sounds conflicting. It's going to be the maximum setting. Just like right now, all Nikon cameras do 1080. All of the Nikon DSLRs going forward will start to offer 4K. I think it's just a given. It's the way of the future. It's here. It's now, and it's a good thing. It's good business sense, and I think you'll see Nikon do that. So I think we can expect 4K out of the D610. What the limitations are on that, I don't know, as far as time limits and file sizes and things. But I think you will have 4K UHD video in the Nikon D610 successor. As we said, we'll call it the D650. Then we've got the sensor. I would expect we'll probably see a little higher resolution sensor, maybe 32 megapixels, somewhere in that range. But when we look at the fact that the D5's is 3.6 million high ISO, is the top setting on the D5 sensor. Granted, it's a 20 megapixel sensor. But then the 20 megapixel sensor in the DX D500 is 1.6 million. I think Nikon would have no problem, no trouble bringing us probably a 1 million high ISO 32 megapixel sensor. I have no doubt that right now they could deliver a 24 megapixel sensor with that performance, simply because they can do it in DX. So let's say a 32 megapixel sensor with 1 million, even if it was 750,000, that would be sweet, and I'd be very happy with that. It would continue to make, you know, the Nikon D610 has that soft spot in my heart. The 650 would as well, because you get an excellent performance. If you're getting a 32 megapixel sensor, full frame, that does 1 million or even 750,000 high ISO, I'm a happy camper, and I think you'll find most people are with that. And I see no reason why, when you consider the D5's 3.6 million, the D500 DX sensors 1.6 million, we can't get that out of a new 32 megapixel sensor from the coming D650. Similar to what I said about the coming D7300, the snap bridge technology will now be in all the new Nikon DSLRs, so we're going to see that in a D650, and that is not to be underrated. I think people are underestimating how cool that technology is in the announcements for the D500 and the D5. Basically, Bluetooth-enabled connectivity, so you're not going to lose your connections. You're going to be able to hook up the camera to your tablet, to your smartphone, whatever, and transfers are going to be simple and easy, wirelessly, without dropping connections and things. It's just going to be fantastic. So don't underestimate how awesome that's going to be in the 650. Now, as far as autofocus goes, we're not going to see the multicam 20K in the 650. The top end autofocus system was not in the 610, so I don't expect to see that. But what we may inherit is a previous generation's top end. So we may get the one that was in the D4 or in the D750, which is similar to what's in the D7200, which would be very welcome because we'd be getting a stepped up level of performance for AF, very excellent autofocus system, without Nikon having to cannibalize sales. They're not going to offer us that 20K, that new multicam 20K system that's in the D5 and the D500, but they could still give us a phenomenal system, the last iteration of camera's top end one. So that'll be awesome and a welcome upgrade. If they don't give us that, I still think we're going to see a better performing system, just some type of tweaking of probably that top end system or something with a whole new nomenclature, but it's going to be better than what's currently in the 610. Not that there's anything wrong with the 610, but a more advanced system will certainly be welcomed by myself and I'm sure everybody else. Last but not least, we're going to see the new radio-controlled wireless lighting system. That's been introduced in the D5 and the D500. It's going to come down into all Nikon DSLRs from going forward, same as the Creative system had it. And when I say all, I mean all DSLRs at a level that have a commander control for speed lights. So don't expect your 3300s, whatever it's going to be, with the D3500 or whatever is going to come out next. That's not going to have it. But the 7300 will have it, and definitely the 650 will have it. So the Nikon D650 will definitely have the new radio controlled wireless system, and that will be able to control the SB5000 and any other speed lights they bring out that are compatible. And don't underestimate how awesome this is, Pocket Wizard technology, high-end radio technology built right into the camera. Pretty cool. Yes, you need the more advanced speed lights, the newer ones, so that's an investment, but you don't have to worry about carrying your own radio triggers. I've been using a lot. I really like my old Nikon SB26s, and I don't mind using like the newer radio triggers. I'll put a link below. You can get them for like $25 for a set of 3 or whatever, 1 trigger and 2 receivers. So I'll probably still stay with that, but it will be welcome to have that new technology in the 650. So that's what, 5 things I think it was. We had the 4K, we had the new sensor, we have the new autofocus system, we have snap bridge technology, and we have the radio controlled wireless. So what do you guys think? See, to me, that Nikon D650 that I just described is much more interesting to me than any camera out there right now. So and don't forget, we're due for a 610 update. Because the 600's been out for a while. Let me see. I think I had the date here on when the 600 was introduced. So the Nikon D600 was announced September 13th, 2012. So if it comes out even this year, September, that's about an appropriate life cycle, appropriate reboot. The 610 was a minor update, mostly to get away from the bad taste in your mouth of the oil spots on the sensor that some, actually in hindsight a very few 600s had. That was announced October 8th, 2013. So, if October 8th, 2016 was a D650, that's 3 years. And hey, that's a camera I definitely want to get my hands on. But what do you guys think? Is that of more interest to you than the D750 or D500 or any other camera? Like for me, that's the one I would buy if I was plopping down money for a full frame when it was available. But do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there another camera you'd take instead of? Leave some comments below. Let me know. Let's discuss it. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. I'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.